Okay, lay down. Lay down. Good boy. You stay right there, okay? You stay. You can see me. You're fine.
Are we recording? Yeah. Okay.
Can I bark orders at you? Patrick, do the intro. Do the intro right now.
To those of you listening, not watching, we have a dog in the studio. That is what that was about.
He's got some issues.
Buster the dog.
That's right.
Who's been here for a few episodes of The Road the Stage over the last year and a bit, right?
Been a little while, so it feels kind of new to him, I think. But he's fine.
What's he been listening to lately?
Everything. He's been listening to the podcast a lot. He's probably the only member of the family
that actually
listens and goes from start to finish. So
that is beautiful.
He is a good boy.
It's a Sunday here in Red Deer, Alberta.
It's a work day for me. You've been gallivanting around a little bit?
Yeah, I had a busy weekend. I'm pretty tired.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a couple buddies were in Calgary for the weekend, but they're also working at the same time. They're doing a film shoot.
Oh.
Which is like crazy hours. So.
The Last of Us?
No,
That's the only thing I know.
No.
It seems like everybody's talking about that. And it seems like it's been filming for like a year.
Long time, yeah. I haven't seen much about it lately, but yeah, I'm excited to see that. Should be interesting.
Well, did you want to have a little nappy nap? Did you want to lay down with the dog?
I would love. I might have a nap after this. We'll see. So Peter Michaels, you had a big weekend. You had a kid go through a graduation.
2 out of 3 graduated now. 1 to go.
Wow. You got a couple more years. Three years.
Two more years.
Oh,
and then the last one's done. So I know. How old am I?
What was do you know what the grad song was? That's the thing, right?
No, like if it was, you know what? I'm sure they picked the songs, but it was so different. Like for my graduation, which was small town and much, much smaller, you know, the arena's full. We come out and we do a little circle around a couple of times and do a little routine. This was, I mean, the high school, I'm sure there's probably 1,000 grads.
Holy.
Maybe that's over. That might be a little
that's
high.
Huge.
But anyways, it's a big grad class, and they had to break it up into 3 separate chunks. So, but anyways, for the grand march, I guess they call it.
Okay.
There was music playing.
Yeah.
But basically, the kids file up onto the stage, and everybody's there, and they can take pictures when their kid goes, and they come down the stage, and that's
it. Yeah.
That's it.
The procession.
So, there was music playing, but as to if they had a particular song, I have no idea.
No specific song. Ryley, did you have a specific song for your high school grad? I think mine was probably just like Good Riddance or something.
Yeah,
I think that was it.
Ours was the dance. Because it was, I graduated in 92. So
the dance being
Garth Brooks.
Oh,
pretty huge, the dance.
Garth Brooks.
And then that was right in the heart of my hair metal days.
Yeah.
So there's a band called Slaughter, and they had a song called Days Go By.
Okay.
And that was very fitting, I thought. Most people fought against it, but I got it snuck in as the secondary.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
What did you guys have a radio station in your high school?
No.
Or like morning announcements or anything? No? Okay.
No. Maybe morning announcements. We did. I don't remember.
So the interview, there's a show tonight at Bose, and it is actually one of the artists that's going to be there.
Yes.
Which you're very excited about,
Very excited about. That is a band I don't miss.
When was the last time the Trews were in Red Deer?
Well, I want to say it was 2019, and when we talked to Altameda a few episodes ago,
right,
they had made mention of that night that the Trews were here, and it was a minus 40-degree night.
Right.
I want to say it was a Sunday as well, because this one's on a Sunday.
Was that a memorial show?
No, that was at Bose.
Oh, shit, okay.
It was cold, and I remember that night starting out, and the crowd not being totally into it, because again, I think it was a Sunday night, minus 40 out.
Yeah.
And it took a while for things to get fired up.
For sure.
Once they did.
How many times have you seen the Trews?
Like, a lot.
At least 10.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be double digits for sure.
And we got some music announcements this week for Westerner Days, right?
That's right.
The Red Deer version of the Summer Fair / Stampede.
Turns out we did have a little bit of
We did have the scoop.
We had an exclusive.
About a month early too, which is nice. Core Blund is coming back to Red Deer to play Westerner Days, and then
Billy Talent,
right.
And Alan Doyle,
right.
Which I don't. Is there a rift? Alan Doyle and Great Big Sea. Is there a reason?
That's a good question. I don't know. I know he's been doing his solo stuff for a long time, right?
And I'm sure he does all the Great Big Sea stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure. Do you know anything about openers?
I don't know.
I didn't see anything about that, right?
Yeah. No, I'm assuming they.
Usually there's at least 2 acts. Yeah. But that's pretty good. I mean, personally, from my perspective, compared to previous years, it's a much more modern step in in the right direction.
And the one comment I've seen a lot so far is there's something for everyone.
Truly
Which
this
is nice,
time.
'cause
Yeah,
sometimes it does get a little one-sided one way or the
Yeah.
other. And then the other thing that they're doing, I think this is the first time, is they're charging for tickets.
Oh, okay.
So normally it's a free show, and I like the idea of charging for tickets because that way a lot of times people would go in and it's free, so they'd go in, they'd watch a couple songs, and
Yeah, that's fair.
bomb out again.
That's fair.
Whereas this time you're paying, so you get your
Yeah.
gate admission with.
Do you know how much the tickets are?
I think it's $30 for the bowl and $40 for the floor.
Okay.
So it's not
No, it's great.
ridiculous by any stretch.
Well, that's that's interesting. It's gonna be a fun week. Yeah. When is that? July?
Yeah, third week of July.
Okay. All right. Before or after Stampede?
After.
Right
Always after.
Right. Well, that'll be fun. I'm excited to see some Stampede concert dates too. We do have
And still nothing announced there yet, right?
nothing. I think they've announced some of like the big Saddle Dome shows, if I'm not mistaken, but none of the Coke Stage shows. Last
Which
time I
is
checked.
all new, right? The Coke stage is gone.
What? What do you mean?
Oh.
I didn't know.
Uh-oh.
They.
I'm breaking the bad news.
What do you mean?
The Coke stage was dismantled, torn apart. They've got something else in its place now.
But that's still going to be
As
where
far
they
as I know,
perform?
that's still the same area, but the Coke stage itself, gone.
Oh, why?
I don't know if it was deemed unsafe or.
I mean, I wonder if it just wasn't big enough.
That structure'd been there a while.
Yeah, a long time. Damn, I had no idea.
But as far as I know, the concerts will still be at the same spot, but
Yeah.
don't quote me on that.
Well, we do have one scoop on that, and it's something we should all be excited about. So keep it at that.
Do I know this?
Yes, I believe so. If not, I'll tell you off mic.
Yes.
All right. So who do we have today?
Big friends at Sawback Brewing Company. We just so we record at Communal Creative Studios,
Yes.
which is on Ross Street in
Mhm.
Red Deer, and
Yeah.
there's a beautiful patio just across the street from us that has a lot of great restaurants.
Yeah.
Really cool area to go kind of eat.
And there's a new beverage down there,
Sawback
right?
just brewed a beverage specifically for the Ross Street.
Very
patio.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Go Services Inc. Post Barn Stage.
Our friends here at Communal Creative Studios, Buster
Of
the
course,
dog
Buster the dog. And our guest today, John-Angus.
from.
The Trews.
Oh, there he is.
So sorry, guys. I just lost track of time in the time zone thing and all that stuff.
It's all good, man.
All good. I had a feeling that would actually probably come up. I should have said something.
Yeah, it's my first time time traveling in a while.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so first time back on the road for 2 years. I guess first let's start with, I'm curious to know, because it's not very often we get to talk to somebody that's just starting a tour fresh. This is show number 1 for the first time in a couple of years. What's the checklist like leading up? What have the last 5 days been?
Well, we traveled out here by bus, which was, it was nice to be, feeling the wheels under us again for the first time in a couple of years. I think we got a little bit rusty at things like packing. We all forgot a bunch of stuff. We had to do a fair amount of rehearsing because we haven't been out in front of crowds in a little bit, a little while. But the checklist was just like, sort of checking and double checking everything because we're all a little rusty. So we'll see how it goes tonight.
Any additions to those checklists compared to pre-pandemic touring, you think?
Yeah, masks, I guess, a little extra hand sanitizer. There's a lot of stuff we can't do still. Like we're not doing meet and greets in person, and we're not doing a lot of in person, even what we're doing now. So yeah, there's a little bit of different stuff, but we're just happy to be back at it in any kind of way, shape, or form.
I'm curious, what are a couple of the things that you forgot?
Let me think about this. I forgot a toothbrush, and I also forgot how tricky it is to tour on a bus, where you keep half your luggage in the bus bay and you keep half your luggage on board, and then when you have to shower, the stuff that's on board doesn't necessarily come in, or with the stuff that's underneath, and you're kind of half your stuff is everywhere all the time. So I've been forgetting a lot of stuff.
Oh, well, it sounds like a great way to start night 1 of 4 in a row, right?
Yeah, exactly, precisely.
So Winnipeg's where you are tonight?
Yeah, that's right. We're in Winnipeg. We rolled in last night.
And then again, night 1 of 4. How are you guys ready for just 4 quick nights in a row?
I think so. I mean, talk to me on the 4th night, and I might tell you different. But we feel really good about the show we put together. We had a couple of long rehearsals, and we kind of dug up some stuff we haven't done in a while, and we have a whole album of fresh material that we've yet to really road test. So we're feeling really good about the way the set is shaping up. So as long as we don't party too hard, get too ahead of ourselves or too excited. We should be able to make it last.
It's a good mindset.
I don't know where you guys were on the road. There was a stop you guys had posted the other night. You were looking for sushi. Was that in Winnipeg?
Yeah, that was just as soon as we pulled into town.
Now
we're not looking for some. We didn't find any. It was the Monday of the long weekend, so a lot of things were closed. There was like this fancy beer store that was open that we found, and then there was like another restaurant that we managed to get into, but no sushi.
I'll admit I don't delve into sushi too often, but I'm thinking
Ever.
Winnipeg's probably not the best spot to be looking for sushi.
I mean, it's not much better than Red Deer, Alberta.
Well, no, but you're like right smack dab in the middle.
Prairie sushi, baby.
You know
Prairie
what?
sushi.
I mean, you would think. I mean, I'll knock on wood when I say this, but I feel like we've eaten sushi in everywhere. Like, 20 years ago it was just kind of hard to find.
Yeah.
And then now it's everywhere, and it's kind of like the quality is pretty standard across the board, whether you're like thousands of miles from the ocean or right next door. It's kind of all similar everywhere you go. And it hasn't betrayed me yet, if you know what I mean. So I'll just knock on wood again.
Have they gotten into the Beyond Sushi? Is that what this is?
I've never seen Beyond Sushi.
No, I never heard of it.
There's plenty of veggie sushi out there you can try.
There's like fake crab meat, so that's beyond crab, I guess.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you make about 20 years ago not being able to find something like that as easily as you could now, and I mean that applies to all sorts of different cuisines from all sorts of different cultures, right? I mean, I don't know what it would have been like finding a bowl of pho or ramen 20 years ago.
I don't think you would have, and if you told me, my 20-year-old self that I would like all that food so much, I'd be like how? But I remember on our second record, we worked with Jack Douglas, who introduced us to eating sushi. I was like 23, 24 years old. I'd never tried it. And he would eat it almost every session, almost every day at the studio. And he sort of got us into it. And ever since I try to find it wherever I can, And it's true, the sort of foodie explosion that took place in the last like 15 or so years has really permeated like every corner of the globe. The internet has accelerated all of that too. Like, I also find there's very small differences between big cities and small towns anymore, like culturally, because I feel like the internet has sort of leveled everything. I'm from a small town, and there's just as cool a coffee shop and restaurant and bar there as there is in Toronto. There's just more of them in Toronto, but like the sort of culture of it is sort of everywhere.
Oh, we're losing you there for a second. Let it catch up.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Buffering.
It's all good.
It's
all good.
Burton Cummings.
We are back. It's an interesting point. Well, I'm glad that you said it was John Douglas hooked you up on the sushi train. Jack Douglas, that's great.
Yeah.
We could hook you up with some fine. We could hook you up with sushi in Red Deer.
Okay.
You could have some sushi.
Actually, there is some great pho here.
Yeah, there is. You'll be at Bo's, so I'm sure you'll have plenty of food.
You'll be just fine at Bo's.
Cool. Awesome.
You get talking about 20 years ago. We'll talk about Wanderer and the new stuff that's out right now, but just to look ahead a little bit. So the 20th anniversary is coming up next year, the first album. Have you guys started looking ahead to 20-year celebrations?
Yeah, we've been talking about it. We've never done anything like that where we've toured a record before. But I think it would be fun to do. We're also talking to the label that has that record about doing like a special box set for the anniversary. And if that happens, I imagine we'll do some kind of tour. I'm not sure how far and wide it'll be, but we'll do something to commemorate it. It's, I say lasting is the new making it, because it's just super rare. And so it's nice to be 20 years in and still, still headlining shows, rolling down the highway on a tour bus with your buds. It's kind of a cool accomplishment. So we hope to do something around the 20th anniversary.
That'd be pretty cool.
Well, and especially now it seems too, like you talk about having the lasting, like everything is just, everything's become bubblegum. Like even newer rock bands have such a hard time sticking, especially when it comes to radio, because it seems like those songs get played and then they're gone. They're big hits and then they're gone. So you guys almost came up through that last generation of bands that stick and stay on the radio and will be on the radio for a long time. I don't know when that exactly switched up, but it does seem like it's tougher to stick now.
Things feel a little more ephemeral, like not permanent. Like they feel like they come and they go. And I feel like that's just like the culture of social media sort of affecting all realms of life. Like everything feels like a meme or a hashtag that comes and goes. yesterday's news is like, it's like more like this morning's news, like it keeps coming and going in this never ending cycle. And I feel like music sort of gets caught up in that pattern, from time to time. And we were just from a time when, to be on Much Music and to be on, radio coast to coast was just a little more rare. And it was or I shouldn't say it's more rare, because it's still hard to do. And there's still bands doing great, breaking through, but certainly you to be seen on a screen alone was rare, to have a video and be seen on a screen. But now that's not rare. Like, everybody has that in the palm of their hands, and everybody's creating their own MTV channel 24/7 and curating it however they like. And then the people that want to follow them can follow them as deeply as they want to go. So the whole thing has just turned up on its head, and there's going to be winners and losers and good things and bad things about it. But it's just way, way different than the music industry we came up in.
We had a moment when we were first starting this podcast. I believe this would have happened in January. When we had a video call with Greg Blackmore, who's based in Calgary, and we were kind of I think this was January or early February 2021.
Yeah.
And we had a Zoom call with Greg because we wanted to run this idea of this podcast past him and see what someone in his position with his experience thought about it. And in that same meeting, he showed us a little sneak peek of I believe the first single off The Wanderer.
I think we got to hear 3 or 4 tunes.
Did we?
Back at
Okay.
that time. That's right. Yeah.
And Greg passed away a few months ago, which is very sad, and he was a pretty influential dude, important dude in that side of the industry. But just his excitement about it and what we were doing, I'll never forget that Zoom meeting, because there's just so much positivity. And hearing those sneak peek previews of your songs that came out in fall of 21, some exciting stuff.
Well, I didn't know that he did that, and I'm glad that he did. He's one of the good ones. You meet a million, and he would use this term, not me, but you meet a million record weasels. When you've been on as many labels as we have, when you've been around as long as we have, and he was one of the good ones. He's one of the ones you look forward to talking to, and he would always hip you to something new. And I'm going to miss him a lot for sure. Yeah,
his passion was pretty much uncomparable to anyone I've met. In my short time in this industry.
So, you kind of mentioned with talking to the label that has House of Ill fame, like, is that going to be difficult moving forward? Because you guys have bounced around through labels a whole bunch. Yeah. Was that, like, how did that all go? Was that intentional to just try different things, or?
It wasn't intentional. It was just like, we grew a lot through these different experiences. Our first 2 records came out with Sony, and then I think our manager and the new president at the time didn't get along so well, and so we ended up over on Universal for 3 records, and then there was some other kind of dispute after record 3 that led us to walk from that, and we went to Network, and they ended up with most of our catalog. But then we were kind of free agents after that experience, and we ended up making this new deal with Cadence Known Accomplice, who are under Universal. So now we're back at the Universal family. And one thing you realize is it's such a small industry. People are changing positions and changing careers. Like, it's like radio, you see a guy like, I thought I saw you in Edmonton, and now you're in, Regina, and I thought I saw you in Medicine Hat, and now you're in Calgary. And like that, it's the same kind of thing at the music industry. It's like you see these people floating around, and and everybody ends up wearing a lot of hats. It's a small business. We've had some great partnerships, and certainly, the situation we're in right now is a good one.
So tonight you play this one show, first tour show in a while, right? You played a show last month, I think.
We did. We've done one-offs,
right.
And we did a lot of weird oddball stuff through the pandemic. Like, we did some drive-ins and some socially distanced this and that, and some live stream this and that. But this is the first normal tour in well over 2 years. And
are you anticipating feeling a certain way when you guys walk off the stage tonight?
I hope to feel good. I hope to feel like you did a job well done, and that we connected with some people. And we've been noticing that people have been as hungry to see it as we have been to do it.
Yeah.
There seems to be a real appetite out there for getting out and seeing music again. So I just hope to feel like we made a connection. That's what you hope to do at a show.
And now, what about going into tonight? So your new single, Enemy, is the first single you guys have had with you handling vocals.
That's
so
right.
Tonight will be the first night. So do you take center stage then for that? How's it working with you doing vocals on that one?
I'll stay on stage left. I'll stay on my same mic, but it was it's been fun. It's been an interesting way to shake things up, and the song came about in such a personal way. Like it actually stemmed back to me jamming with my son. That's how I kind of came up with it. And then I demoed it on my own and played all the instruments and showed it to the guys. And it just kind of became like demoitis, where it just made sense for me to sing it when it came time to do it for real. So yeah, it's nice. It turned out great. And I think it's a little something different for people that have been following along for 20 or so years,
Wait, where does that song, where are you guys playing that in the set list?
Back half.
Okay. All right.
Back half of the list.
All right.
It's not really.
You're not getting it over and done with right away.
No, I got a little time to warm up. I'm not
Okay.
as seasoned a vocalist as Colin, so I need time. I need time to warm up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love the story of you writing it with your son, and you had a great post as well on Instagram, just kind of the building of that song. So you've got two boys, Isaac and Elliot. Elliot seems to be like, I see a lot of videos of him on the drums.
Yeah, he's a killer. He's had a knack for it since he was 2. I shit you not. 2 years old, he was playing sticks bigger than him, but he could keep a beat.
Wow.
And it was just such a joy to watch him learn to play, and to have such a passion for it so early. So I would just try to nurture that, and if anytime he wanted to jam, I would just drop what I was doing and go downstairs and play with him. And then he also grew up in a house where it wasn't unusual for 4 or 5 grown-ass men to disappear into the basement or the loft and invent songs for hours at a time. He grew up in that kind of house where the guys would come over, we'd make a pot of coffee and disappear, and he'd be listening to us in the basement, like making shit up. And so he just thinks that's normal. He's like, yeah, everybody has a house where you can write a song in the house. So he just then he's like, I guess I'm a songwriter too. So he'd start making suggestions like, I want to write a song that goes like this, or I want to write a song that has the line. And in the case of Enemy, it was the lyric. He's like, I want to write a song that goes, I know what it's like to be the enemy. And I was like, that's a really cool line. What is that about? And he's like, it's about, Marvel movies, bad guys. I was like, I think I'll change the meaning, but I like the line. So yeah, that was the sort of genesis of it.
Wow, that's very cool. And was he invested in the process beyond that?
No, he still had the attention span of a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So it was like, when I started playing my idea for it, he's like, no, it's not supposed to go like that. Let's move on.
He can remix it in a few more years.
He wanted it to be like an Iron Maiden or Sabbath song.
So it won't be soundtracking any Marvel series.
Marvel movie.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And does Isaac?
He's like, I failed him.
Does Isaac show the same will towards music?
He loves it, but he hasn't picked anything up yet. He's 4 now, so he's been a little more shy to dive in, but he loves it. It's like all little kids. If you put on the Beatles or anything that's sort of timeless, you find them just bouncing around the room to it and getting a lot out of it, which is awesome.
So it's conceivable. We've seen sons and daughters of other musicians play in bands or fill in here and there. But I mean, it's conceivable at some point the Trews could just continue on for another generation. You and Colin retire, and the MacDonald brothers still could just carry on the family business.
Yeah, that's right. We're breeding our replacements.
No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah.
No pressure at all. Yeah. Oh God, who knows?
That'd be pretty great. I think you'd have to rename it a little bit though.
Yeah. I think that's Kiss's plan. I heard that the Kiss's plan is eventually to just franchise it out to whoever needs to wear the makeup and play the songs. I mean, it's kind of brilliant to paint your face in that you don't ever have to age, and it doesn't even have to be you. I mean, Ace Frehley is not even in the band, but somebody's wearing his paint, so it's all the same to his fans,
That's a really good point.
I like the authenticity more of having.
But yeah, what does it matter if you can't tell who it is?
Well, especially with the face paint, I get it. So the tour brings you guys into Red Deer this weekend. We can't wait to see you again. Have you guys looked ahead? I was looking at your schedule. So you're playing in Edmonton on Monday night.
That's right.
There's this little hockey series going on in Alberta right now, and we've had a few bands the Beaches.
Bluestones.
Anyway, Gang played Edmonton. I was at Edmonton on Friday night. It was a game
Chastity,
night. And the room was definitely had a few less people in it, I think. So have you guys looked ahead that you're in Edmonton on a potential Game 7 night?
That's going to be Game 7 if it goes there.
Yeah. It won't
the
get
game
there.
will be in Calgary. It's not
there.
going to get there. The game will be in Calgary.
We might as well cancel. I mean, how do you compete with that? I mean, we've been watching all the hockey from the front lounge of the bus. It's been really great. It's been great hockey. It's the playoffs. I mean, we were a little sad. Colin was sad to see the Leafs go. I was sad to see the Penguins go. But it's just great hockey, and I don't know what's going to happen in Alberta. But we have played a Game 7 hometown before. Remember the run that the Canucks went on?
Yeah.
That brought them all the way to the riot, all the way to the end.
Yeah.
had,
2011, I think.
Whatever series was versus the Blackhawks, it was either the second round or the third. It was a very important game, and it was a Game 7, and we were playing in town on the same night. And I think we had like a we can't beat them, join them attitude, and we actually just played the game behind us. So at least everybody was looking in our direction.
Genius.
Not like looking over at the TV across. I'm like, hey, they're still looking at us. Then at one point in the middle of some song, they go like, ah!
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the song, but it's because they scored.
Some guys in the background screaming, "God damn it!" while you're doing a solo. Yeah,
I know.
that's a great idea, though.
I don't know what we'll do. I mean, if there's so many potentialities, like if they win, I mean, people are going to want to party. I'd be inclined to just wait.
Oh, right.
If they lose, I don't know. I just hide.
Okay, sorry to put that into your headspace, but I mean, yeah, it won't happen.
There's no way.
You guys are clearly Flames fans.
Not in my lifetime.
No.
Yeah.
Not in my lifetime. I'm a Leafs guy, but in these parts, I definitely cheer for the Oilers.
We're having fun with it in Red Deer, obviously, right? Because we're split right down the middle. I think we definitely tend to lean a little more Oiler than Flames here, but it's fun, and will probably help the bars out that have lost so much over the last couple of years. I mean, this single-handedly, I think, is going to be putting a bunch of people back into the.
I think it's great. And when I heard it was going to be the Battle of Alberta, I thought, well, at least one Canadian team's going to round 3.
Yeah.
But that's good news, and maybe even all the way. So either way, it's good news.
So we were talking the feeling you want to have after your first show back tonight on a proper tour. And the idea of connecting with people who are eager to get out to see live music. Have you been in their position in the last few months? Have you been able to take advantage of any shows?
Yeah, I did. I've been out to quite a few shows in Toronto and in the surrounding area. I went and saw The Darkness.
Oh, wow.
That was awesome.
Was that a tour? Were they opening for? Well, wasn't he just in the news last week for? Were they opening for Bon Jovi?
Well, they were headlining. They were headlining when I saw them. They were at a club in Phoenix and Toronto. Yeah.
Have you watched his YouTube show that he's doing?
No, but it keeps popping up.
You've seen it?
It's excellent. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, how do the other musicians feel about kind of being sliced apart? Isn't that something kind of? Wouldn't you have to handle that cautiously when critiquing other artists?
You do, but the more I watch it, the more I think he's being pretty fair. He's not like a hater. He's like legitimately breaking it down in musical terms, and he's criticizing it where some criticism is due, and he's also giving tons of props where props are due. And I always found that band kind of walked a fine line between tongue-in-cheek comedy a little bit and seriousness. Even when he is being critical, you kind of just laughing along. It's not too harsh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that show was great, and I went and saw Daniel Romano. I don't know if you Mano. I don't know if you know him. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
What else have I seen? I saw this band called Golden Feathers, who are a Hamilton band. I went and saw Tons. One of Sloan's, another one is Chris Murphy's side project. So I've been out quite a bit actually. It's felt really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, we've just been slammed with shows here at Bose. I was in Toronto last week, managed to catch a show at the Horseshoe, which was really great. It's been too long, and then I got back and for my 5 days in Toronto, and you're staring down 5 shows in 6 nights or some madness. It's we're going
I've
full
seen
bore out here.
more shows in the last 2 weeks than I did in those 2 years. So
everybody is making up for lost time. I think, there's a couple of reasons that most people have to get out there and make up for lost financial time, but also musicians are born to play and they don't want to sit at home, and everybody has to get out and do it. So, if it's a good time to be a fan, if you got lots of options.
Yeah, lots of options. Just make sure you go out and seize many of those opportunities.
Speaking of fans, one of the things you guys do the best and have been doing the best for a long, long time is fan involvement, through your Patreon, including people and stuff. And I forget there was a precursor to Patreon that you guys were involved in as well. What was that?
It's called Pledge.
Pledge. That's right. Yeah.
They went down in a flaming pile of, I don't know. It was too bad. They went under, and it took a lot of people's money with it. But it's unfortunate. Well, when it worked, it was great. It was a great sort of pre-sale. The way we used it was we kind of pre-sold the record we were working on, and people could sort of pledge to get like enhanced experiences, you know. So people came by the studio and got to sing backup vocals, or people got to, you know, come to like do like an album preview when it was done and listen to it with us, and all these kind of cool enhanced experiences. It drums up hype for the record. It makes money for the bands. It also like gives fans a real sense of ownership over the stuff you're working on. And it was great for a couple of cycles, and then they kind of went down in a hail of bullets or something. I don't know what happened, but it did not end well for them.
All right. Well, Patreon has picked up the slack for sure. So you guys just did something where you had fans vote on their favorite songs for this upcoming tour. So the top 3 were Ishmael and Maggie, Sing Your Heart Out, and Not Ready to Go. Any surprises in that list?
On the list, I was really surprised to see like our 2 newest albums placed so highly. I, for some reason, I feel like people always glorify, like when they first hear your band, they tend to think like more nostalgically about those records. But I think Civilianaires, which was our last record, came in 3rd, and then the new one was tied in for 4th with our first album. So that kind of surprised me that the newer records are still resonating with the hardcore fan base in the way that they are. That was a pleasant surprise.
I have a very distinct visual memory of being in the backseat of my family car, probably driving from Oakville to Whitby to see my grandparents, and hearing Not Ready to Go on the radio. Probably would have been the Edge at the time. And then, going home later that day and illegally downloading it from LimeWire or Kazaa. I forget which one, but ended up on my RCA Lyra. So, yeah.
Right, man. So it was called like Not Ready to Go by the Sam Roberts Band.
Yeah, hyphen Trews Roberts Band. Yeah.
Trews Roberts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that would have been, would that have been 20 minutes? Because 20 years ago, because for some reason, and I had to double check today, but I have, for some reason, I've convinced myself that both the Trews and Sam Roberts were at Sarstock.
We were. You're not wrong, but we didn't play at it. We were in the audience.
Okay.
Sam had he had like about a year head start on us. He was about a year before us, and but we played a lot in those days together. Like even in small clubs, you know, like we did a lot of touring together. But I was at that concert, and they opened that concert.
Yeah, they did.
I remember it well. But it was something else you did. Oh, you were talking about 20 years. The thing is, Not Ready to Go didn't really hit until 2004. So they get Memory of You going to your grandma's or whatever. That was probably 2004. Like the album came out in 2003, but that didn't really like take off that year.
All right. Well, you've added some clarity, some perspective to a decades old memory. I very much appreciate that.
So that was, when you were driving to your grandmother's, it was actually 2004.
All right.
And then you went home and robbed me.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry, Lars.
He'll make up for it when you guys are here on Sunday.
I was 12 years old. I'm sorry.
No,
buy the man a beer on Sunday, okay?
Are you that young? You're that much younger than me, man. That's crazy. I was 23 at the time. You were 12.
Yeah, 12 or 13. So not that
you didn't know any better.
No, I mean, I was thoroughly... I knew what I was doing.
All good. I indulged in the Napster and LimeWire because just like everybody else back then.
I remember my dad actually bringing me. This would have been years before because we were actually living in Toronto at the time. Totally different house. But I remember him being like, "You gotta check this out. It's this. It just got Napster," and like I would have been at that point probably 9 or 10. He was like, "Type in any song you want," and I typed in. I think I searched up a Bowie song, and a few minutes later I was listening to it, and it was like magic.
It was crazy when it came out, and you would get like there would be like long rumored, like you'd start searching for like stuff from Chinese Democracy, which hadn't seen the light of day yet, and then they would label it that, but it was just like a live version of Knocking on Heaven's Door, or something like that. It was just, but those were the early days of streaming essentially. That's what that turned into.
Yeah, totally. Well, Pete, you got anything else?
Well, to see where it's ballooned to now, the other thing you guys do, like fully in on the TikTok, how much of your day is consumed by coming up with that stuff? Because you guys are incredibly active.
Yeah, I try not to let it permeate my. Listen, I don't love it. I don't love social media, but for me, it's like a necessary evil for the marketing of the band. You know, it's where people go to check in on your band.
Yeah.
And we try to keep things up to date, have a little bit of fun with it, but I try not to take it very seriously because it's really not the serious part of the job. And the more people that put that weight on it, the more that the work and the art of it's going to suffer. So we do it for fun here and there, but that's not really the important part of the job. We try to keep our eye on the prize, playing good shows, keeping up your musicianship, writing good songs. That's what it's all about. And I hope the future of bands still see all that stuff as worthwhile, like hitting the road, putting in the hours, logging the hours on the road. Because this other stuff is fun and it's a pleasant distraction, but it's not the meat and potatoes of what we do, you know.
It's so temporary too, right? Kind of like
it's so temporary, and again, it's a great marketing tool. You know, it's powerful that you can reach all your people instantly. Like if we change the showtime right now, by an hour, everybody could know instantly, and that just was never the case. So that's kind of cool. But like, I just see a lot of weight being put on this stuff with new artists over all the other stuff, and I don't love to see that.
No, that's a very grounded perspective, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
The culture is so broad, so vast, but if you dial in on that stuff, you're kind of ignoring the basics a lot of the time.
Yeah. To me, it's like it's an afterthought, but it's an important afterthought. It's like it's just where the media landscape has drifted. You know, it's just important now. You know, and it was what started out as like a sort of joke has become like the main marketing tool for music.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's true.
So you got to keep that in mind. But we just try to have fun with it, and it's really more of an afterthought once you have your music together and your act together.
We'll get you on there one of these days, Pete. Your own TikTok.
No, sir.
All right, fine. Fine.
Okay, so we're about 4 hours away from the first show of the first tour in 2 years. What do the next 4 hours look like?
Well, I haven't sound checked yet. I was supposed to start at 3:30, but sounds like they're late because I would get an angry text message by now if they weren't. So we sound checked for about almost an hour. We have like I said we're not doing meet and greets, but we do have like a fan club. They come in to see a bit of the sound check. We have like a little mini show in the afternoon. And then I'll find some dinner and then probably lay down on the bus for half an hour, get changed, and go play the show.
Cool, man. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you here in Red Deer in a few days. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us.
It's good to see you guys again, and thanks for having me on. This is cool what you're doing. I know we talked at the radio station before.
We've talked a couple of times, yep.
Yeah, but this is cool what you're doing. I love the podcast format. I think it's like such a looser style of conversation, and you can get to some better places than when you sandwich between songs.
Well, and that's what I just said. Like, I mean, in radio, you get the 10 minutes, right? And by the time you talk about the new album, the new tour, and you're pretty much done, and that's it. So
yeah, we didn't even get his take on apples yet. But
you're not going to get my feelings about. You're not going to. Yeah, you're not going to get my take on sushi, kazaa, correcting the record of the timeline.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you so much. Have fun tonight.
Okay, we'll see you Sunday.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Peace.
Okay, see you, man.
Cheers.
John-Angus MacDonald from the Trews.
Really nice guy.
Delightful man, and a great family man as well.
Yeah.
If you follow him on his Instagram, he posts a lot about his kids and
really nice guy.
A great guy.
Hat guy.
And always got a pretty cool hat. And awesome to see that he's stepped up. Like, how often do you see another member of a band step up and take over vocal duties when that's not their typical?
Yeah. Does he not? He doesn't sing backups at all, or
harmonies?
Harmonies,
but
brotherly harmonies.
Brotherly harmonies, but never front and center. So yeah, I always enjoy chats with John-Angus. That one was interesting as we were talking to John-Angus. So this was recorded. We recorded this interview on Wednesday.
Yep.
And as we were talking to John-Angus, the news was breaking at the time of the Robb Elementary shooting in Texas.
Yeah.
Which would have been, obviously would have been pretty fresh to bring up with him at the time. But the Trews wrote the song "Gun Control" in 2008 after the Virginia Tech shootings.
Right.
Since then, I've gone back and listened to it quite a few times over the last few days.
Yeah.
And it's just pretty sad that all these years later,
nothing.
And the lyrics could very easily transfer over to way too many events.
Yeah, I'm definitely starting to lose a lot of empathy about that shit because it's just like, other countries have done something about it to great success.
Right. And to me, if you're not and they're not doing anything about it. So to me, that means you're condoning that. You're saying that this is going to happen every once in a while and we just got to live with it.
Yeah.
Which is absolute horseshit.
That is essentially the role of government to protect the people. And I don't know. What are you going to do? If the people keep voting those people in, then it's like, again, like that's It happens so often. It's always so horrific. This one, I mean, the details are fucking crazy. And I truly, I haven't spent too much time on it because, again, losing empathy. But, yeah, I don't know. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
At this point, that is pretty much all you can say as an outsider, as a bystander. It's just like, fuck. Like,
as the
what
meme
are you
goes
guys
around
doing down there?
of the whole cycle of this, of how it, you know, all the heartbreak, the thoughts, the prayers,
Yeah.
every, you know, it's all, and then it goes away, and then it's going to happen again, and the whole cycle just continues to repeat itself. I don't know what it takes.
Yeah,
to
David
get them to
Cross
change
has
something.
a new bit in his stand-up that came out a couple months ago, and he basically, paraphrasing, but, you know, instead of thoughts and prayers, it should be like chants and spells or something like that, because it's about as useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see. I haven't checked a Trews set list to see if they've, because they do.
Is that a song
they do
they
play
usually
it.
play?
They
Okay.
They do play it. It has been brought out, and I do remember talking to John-Angus once upon a time, and they did play it in the Deep South. In the US
right.
as well.
Yeah.
And I think the quote of that time was something like, I mean, to hell with it. That's how we feel. So we're gonna play it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate business, but the True Show will take your mind off of it.
Will be great. And they have written some important tunes over the years. That Gun Control is good.
Totally.
Highway to Heroes.
I mean, they
Is
are
another great gift that they have given.
basically the official Remembrance Day song of the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Who do you have a band like that you would just never, if they come through town, there's no, whatever you're doing, you'll change plans to be there every time?
Well, I mean, a band that I would never imagine to be in town.
Well, no, let's pick somebody that, like, because again, these bands crisscross our country over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to say, you know what, I saw the Trews last year.
Yeah.
I'll just wait again until next year. And you never know when that next year isn't going to be a thing anymore.
I mean, if there was an opportunity to drive under 3 hours to see Fucked Up again, I would do that. There's probably, I'd have to think about it. Yeah. You would drive across state lines for a couple bands, more than a couple.
I've got a few. I don't know what Buster's eating something. So
Buster's eating
I don't
something.
know what he's eating.
Well, maybe Buster should
we-
subscribe to the Communal Creative Studios YouTube
If
channel.
all of a sudden there's snow and he's chewed through a cord, I don't know what he's. There's something tasty on the floor, Ryley. Did you drop? Hey.
Oh,
Buster, what are you eating?
all gone.
All gone.
Yeah, he'll be
All
fine.
right, he's fine. Okay.
Yeah, no, there's many bands I think, but I would have to really consider that.
He doesn't listen to Ryley.
That's fair.
Buster has subscribed to the YouTube channel. Come over here.
That's
Buster.
great. That's great.
Come over here.
We're, we got some goals for subscribers on the Communal Creative Studios YouTube channel, and if you haven't subscribed, it takes all of 30 seconds.
I am not.
Costs nothing.
I'm not afraid to turn this dog on people.
Ooh,
you aren't
boy.
If you
Oh,
aren't
boy.
subscribed, and by that, he will lick you like crazy.
Oh, okay,
so that's,
okay. He is a nice dog. No biting. Just
biting.
just licking
Just
you
love.
to
He will-
subscribe.
Yes. Licking you to subscribe. That's a whole other YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly. I know that our friends at Sawback and Go Services Inc. have definitely subscribed.
Bo's Barn Stage, I think, should probably.
Oh, totally. 100%. 100%.
Producer Ryley, thank you for coming in on a Sunday.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Ryan is busy doing sound check for the Trews as we speak. Busy time, man.
All right, so we get the Trews out of the system, and then we're back when?
Wednesday.
The Road the Stage is produced by Ryan Kuly and Ryley Surian at the Communal Creative Studios in Red Deer, Alberta. In partnership with Go Services Inc., Sawback Brewing Co., Tourism Red Deer, and Bo's Bar and Stage.